Now playing movie reviews in 20 Qs.
Macho Man does whatever a macho man can. Can he dunk a basketball? Fuck no, he's 4 foot tall. Here comes Macho Man.
Oh, mate, no, give me some credit there. I'm at least 4'5".
Yes, hello good people, and welcome to the podcast Movie Reviews in 20 Qs, the show where we review a movie by asking 20 weird and wonderful questions about it. As you can guess, we are doing Spider-Man Far From Home, and I'm joined by Machu. What a surprise. How are you, Machu?
Oh, great introduction.
Really feel welcomed?
I thought it was movie reviews, not ripping on your mates in 20 Qs, but...
I've had a rebrand, bro. You must have not got the fucking memo. And the other one, well, I've got a song for you as well. It's Kahu.
Yeah, I think by virtue of my extra inches, I get out of the opening song. But that bar's definitely been set high, so looking forward to the next one.
Last time I was looking down in the urinal, I didn't see those extra inches. It's all at the top 2 inches.
They were inverted, bro. They were inverted.
Yeah, to be fair, set myself up for that one.
So yeah, Spider-Man Far From Home. We all went and saw it, the latest offering in the MCU, starring Samuel L. Jackson. I didn't even start with Tom Holland, Jake Gyllenhaal, Zendaya. Yeah, well, everyone knows it. But if you're not planning on watching the movie, but you want to play along anyway, Machu, why don't you tell us what the plot of the film Spider-Man Far From Home is?
Our friendly neighbourhood superhero decides to join his best friends Ned, MJ, and the rest of the gang on a European vacation. However, Peter's plan to leave superhero heroics behind for a few weeks are quickly scrapped when he begrudgingly agrees to help Nick Fury uncover the mystery of several elemental creature attacks, creating havoc across the continent, specifically Europe.
There's so much wrong with that plot. Yeah, vacation. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean...
the most expensive school project in history.
I mean, yeah, that's in a roundabout way the plot of the film. And if you're not planning on seeing this film, we're going to ruin it for you. Spoiler alert throughout the entirety of this podcast. Having a look at the reviews for this movie, IMDb have it at a whopping 8 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes even higher at 90%. And Metacritic, it's 69.
Is that real, Sam? You just throw it in there so you could say 69?
No comment. And we'll throw it over to you, Kahu. What would you give this film as a score out of 10,000 web shooters?
I would give it 6,500 web shooters. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was great, but it was okay.
Holy shit. What about you, Machu?
I'm down there with the Metacritics. I'm going to go 6,129 web shooters.
Holy shit! Oh, dear listeners, you all know me. You know how excited I am about Marvel films. I can't believe I'm hearing this shit from you guys. Or from myself, I'm going to give it 6,002 out of 10,000.
Yeah, I was happy with the last Avengers film being the last one, but it's not. Yeah, this one is.
Yeah. There's so much more I've got to say about this film, but I'll wait. Because what we do on this podcast is we review a movie by asking 20 weird and wonderful questions about it. We start with a question that we all answer, which is the compliment sandwich, which is one thing good, one thing bad, and one thing good about this film. Now, Machu, why don't you lead us off with your compliment sandwich?
Well, what I liked about this film was Spider-Man's alter ego, Night Monkey. I think that was really cool. I've got an alter ego called Max who likes to get drunk and arm wrestle everyone in the bar. So, and I was thinking to myself, Night Monkey. That's Spider-Man's alter ego.
You are a bit of a monkey at night as well.
It's the new nickname for the Gret and Groper.
You get a bit AP, to be honest.
Night Monkey.
Night Monkey.
I'm going to take that one. And I just think, one thing bad about this film, I'm getting tired of superhero films. I'm looking for something different. There's been so many, and it's becoming a bit samey, and I'm just getting a bit tired of watching them, actually.
I hear you, mate. I hear you.
I mean, it's only number, 22 in the Marvel Universe, though. So.
Yeah. If you're not sick of it now.
There's all the DC films that, they kind of suck, and these ones are the better ones. But I'm starting to, they're all sort of falling into that same bucket. It's matured. We're on the decline now, I think, in superhero movies. And they need to try something new. The whole comedy thing, it's good. I enjoy it, but I'm just getting a bit tired of it. And the last thing is probably, I still like Tom Holland. I still think he's probably the best Spider-Man that I've seen, and I thought he had a good performance. That's me.
Fair enough. What about you, Kahu?
I like that the movie was pretty lighthearted. I mean, the last two Avengers films have been pretty heavy, so I liked it. Was just kind of a bit fun.
It's a bit Disney, eh? It's right.
Yeah, it didn't take itself too seriously. But on the other hand, I thought Mysterio wasn't a great villain. Even when it kind of didn't make it obvious that he was a big baddie. You still didn't really think too much was on the line, I don't think.
But it was pretty
Which in the end
obvious.
was the case.
It was pretty obvious when a hero turns up with no backstory. It's like, he's the bad guy.
Yeah.
I don't know the comics, but I was like, he's the bad guy.
Yeah, and an outfit that obviously looks like a fake superhero.
That's a good point.
It's like the Black Mantis. Like that outfit, it was ridiculous. Like, what a stupid outfit.
Fishbowl here.
yeah.
It's so true to the comics, though.
Oh,
and in the
right?
comics, that's the weirdest part. And like true to the comics, like he is a villain in the comics. So for me, it's just like, as soon as you go to it, you're like, okay, I know this guy's a villain before I've even started. How am I going to fucking find holes in this?
Yeah.
And when you know, it's quite easy. You're like, I see what he's doing. At one point, he does this like exit stage left type thing where he sort of pops in, just slides in. He's like, oh wow, how's it going, kid? And you're like, what the fuck? Like, he's clearly come off, he's clearly hasn't been flying around. He's just walked in out of nowhere.
Yeah. And the other thing I liked was the opening Whitney Houston montage. I thought that was pretty crazy. When that first came up, I was sort of a bit worried where this film was going, but the whole context of it being a high school news item kind of made sense. You could imagine kids just throwing something together and going, shit, this is like an emotional late 1980s song or whatever. Let's chuck that in there.
The pixelated vision and...
Yeah.
Funny. I quite enjoyed that. For me, I thought, like, aside from all that start, I thought it was visually stunning. Like, the scene where he gets inside his head, in Berlin, it was almost like reminiscent of Doctor Strange, where worlds were folding in on top of worlds and, he didn't really know what was up. I really enjoyed that. Bad thing, I'm sick of former Tony Stark employees hating Tony Stark and wanting to kill the world or take over the world. It's Ironmonger. It's fucking like the Vulture in the last Spider-Man movie. It's the guy that hated him in Iron Man 2, fucking Mickey Rourke. I want my bird. It's like all of these people are just pissed off with Tony Stark. How much of a shit boss was Tony Stark? How did he manage to fuck off so many people?
And still save the world.
It's still be a massive hero everyone loves, but everyone fucking hates him.
It's the superhero's curse, though, isn't it? Like, every superhero has an arch villain that just happens to be their mates or have some kind of connection to them, and they end up being the villain.
Oh, you mean like how the Hulk's like villain is the same as the Hulk in the original Incredible Hulk movie, and then Iron Man's villain is the same as Iron Man, and then Captain America's villain is the same as Captain America in the first Avenger, and then in Winter Soldier. Oh, and like how can we keep going? Oh, Ant-Man's fighting a guy who's got a miniature suit as well. Oh, what a fucking surprise!
The villain just doesn't come out of nowhere. It just turns out to be their mate. Like,
exactly. He's just the evil twin in a lot of ways. So that was my bad thing. Good thing. Yeah, Tom Holland's the best Spider-Man we've ever had. He encapsulates that sort of wisecracking yet nervous anxiousness. Like he's just great. He's just like very enjoyable, relatable, adorable little fella.
Yeah, I liked him as well. But you know what he doesn't pull off? Is being smart. He pulls off his pants.
Oh, he does pull off his pants. That's a good point.
But he's not smart. He's just like he doesn't pull it off. At times he has to become this like genius to use the glasses and build his own Spider-Man suit. But he's not. It doesn't pull it off. He's like, look at this dumb shit. Get him away from the controls.
He's like a really bad politician when they've been asked a question and they're like, they don't know the answer, but they're still like trying to talk, and you're like, he's been given script, and it's obviously the first time he's ever used those words. Pretty much. That's a good point. Anywho, that moves us over to question number 2. What is it there, Machu?
Which character clearly needs to get laid? And I must remind you, boys, that we're talking about high school students here, so tread carefully.
It's clearly May Parker. Like the whole movie, she's just stringing Happy along, but kind of lets him down badly in the end. But oh well.
Yeah. I actually had May Parker and Maria Hill, and I volunteer myself as tribute. Next.
Yeah. I also had Aunt May.
I'm happy we've all gone for the over 18 option.
It was a toss-up between Happy and I don't really care if Happy gets laid, so...
I felt bad because Jake Gyllenhaal was like, Lackey is some bald dude. And I was like, if I ever get a chance to represent the bald community, bald guys need to get laid, man. We do. We get angry and try and take over the world. That's probably why this guy's helping Mysterio. He's an angry bald dude.
The MO for bad dudes is going bald, right? Like, Dr. Evil.
Do you often see bald dudes getting laid in movies, though?
No, never.
I feel like it's not a thing at all.
No, you never do. That's why I want them to get laid. We need more representation of getting laid. It can't just be Statham and fucking Bruce Willis getting laid. We need more white bald dudes getting laid.
To such a point in Game of Thrones that the only bald guy actually couldn't get laid anyway.
Don't get me started on this fucking racial profiling that you have for bloody bald guys and people named Sam. The only Sam in Lord of the Rings is a fat loser, so is the one in fucking Game of Thrones. I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of being discriminated against bald Sams. Anywho, before I fucking blow a vein out the side of my head, what's the next question?
What deep philosophical debate arose in you during this film?
We saw what happens when the blip or whatever gets reversed, when people come back into existence. So we, like the band suddenly fills up the stadium, or, the arena or whatever they're in. So I was thinking, right, people just blipped out of existence, right? And, it was roughly half and half. Mm-hmm. Imagine if you were some girl and you were going down on a dude when he blipped out of existence. You would have wound up with a mouthful of ash. But imagine you're that dude and then you come back into existence. You'd be lying there naked like, and then you're in some stranger's fucking house.
Well, your house, but a whole bunch of strangers are there watching TV or something.
Yeah. Be the worst blowjob we've ever had. That's all I'm saying.
Maybe they did make it clear in the movie, but I kind of didn't really get it. So what happened with the whole high school situation when some of them came back obviously older? And
see, that's the thing. Like, some of them blip back into existence and then they would be the same age, so they had to sit school again. Yeah, right. But all the ones that have hung around that was the same age as them in school, they'd be like in university or college or something like that.
His whole class blipped though, right? Because
it looked like it. Every single one that was in the previous movie blipped back into
that's what I didn't get, because they kind of talked about it at the start, but yet they're all the same age.
Yeah, they kind of they addressed it and then they moved on real quick.
Yeah, I guess my real thing is like, how fucked up would your existence be if you blipped back into it and everyone that you know is now 5 years older than you and have just moved on and just, like...
That'd be rough as. Be in the same class as your little brother.
My other deep philosophical debate was, and this is kind of a bad thing, like, really? You're going to give a 16-year-old all these arms and drones and all this other shit? Like, really? Come on, like, Tony Stark, you're going to give a 16-year-old all that. But following on from that, where was all this shit during Endgame? Where was all this shit when Thanos' fucking armies were invading and shit? Yeah. And following on from that, why aren't you giving it to Pepper Potts? Why aren't you giving it to Happy Hogan? Why are you giving it to a 16-year-old that you haven't spent fuck all time with?
How good were those drones? They could really have made some damage, eh? But,
no shit, man.
Almost immediately, he misuses it.
Exactly.
Tries to kill one of his classmates.
Yeah. Exactly. How is this not built in with an AI system to, like, are you sure you want to kill some random stranger that hasn't done anything? Like, surely you'd have some sort of safety protocols. Surely you wouldn't be able to give it to a former Stark employee that's probably been fired and is disgruntled. Like, surely, come on, Tony Stark.
Why couldn't he just call off the drone? That's what I can't understand. Why couldn't he just say, I cancelled that last order? Instead, he has to jump out of the bus and try and shoot it.
Well, we needed an action scene. It was too boring at that point. Yeah.
My deep philosophical debate was, would I notice if one of my classmates was Spider-Man? Because it was pretty fucking obvious. like you're sitting in a bus, you just about fall off a cliff, and then you're kind of like, oh, that's just normal. That is not fucking normal.
Where's Peter?
Why is everywhere we go, something real fucked up happens with Spider-Man? I mean,
how is MJ the only one to notice? They've got other smart people. That's their science class. That's the smartest of the smart.
Yeah, except the fact that they're kind of wrapped up in their own lives, and I think I'm a little bit like that. So I don't think I would notice if one of you guys were Spider-Man. I would be thinking, where does Sam go at night? He just cruises around on buildings wearing black clothes.
Pretty much.
My philosophical debate was that Spider-Man is a really ineffective superhero when he's not in the city.
Yeah.
So any Spider-Man movie is really going to struggle if he has to like catch somebody out in the desert or something.
He's just going to run.
Have to run.
And the sand too, which is really hard.
Yeah. We'll see a whole movie of Spider-Man running.
You get really tired and thirsty in his rubber suit. Like, oh, I'm real thirsty.
Happy, I need a pickup. Where are you? Oh, fuck, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's
you think a Dutch city is fucking hard. Imagine trying to identify yourself in the middle of the Sahara.
He's not even going to be able to, make hay out in the suburbs.
Exactly. Well, that happened in the last one too. He was trying to flip or whatever, between houses and stuff. And he ended up just causing damage to people's houses.
Oh, yeah.
He couldn't even get anywhere.
He's the world's biggest vandal. And he does. He goes around Europe smashing everything.
Yeah.
He's worse than Mysterio.
And that moves us on to question number 4, which comes courtesy of our Patreon. This is from the amazing man that is Dave Baker. Dave has his own Patreon that you should all check out at patreon.com/yourfavorite. On his Patreon, he posts a cornucopia of creative content. These range from prose samples to curated YouTube recommendations, from YouTube video essays to written essays on Medium. And what Dave would like to know is which character from this film would have the most awesome social media presence and on what platform?
So the character of Flash, he was the one that didn't really do anything the whole movie except for say how awesome Spider-Man was, and then call Peter Parker a dickwad.
That was his whole existence, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I think he'd be one of those people who would be on social media all the time, but doesn't actually have a lot of friends.
He is on social media all the time, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's
Posting videos on Instagram or something with hashtag flashmob, eh?
Oh, that's
Or is
yeah.
it Twitch? Is it live streaming or something?
Yeah.
Why'd you pick him? He's a dick. No one gives a fuck about him.
No, he's
God, I
awesome.
hate him. Well, I know you love him much. You take the piss out of Spider-Man.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. He'd be everywhere, but nobody would really take notice of him.
True, yeah.
I had Brad. Now, Brad is
Good old
just...
Brad.
Yeah, I think Brad, all the Brads out there that are listening, sorry about what I'm about to say, but Brad sounds to me like a pretentious, stuck-up arsehole. But I think he'd have a Instagram presence, rich brats, and he'd just be wearing sunglasses, sitting in a private plane or a brand new Lamborghini, taking photos of himself, rich brats.
It's like a less shinier version of Chad, but it's like just
The
it's just this
Chad.
horrible way.
Well,
Your ex-girlfriend goes out with Chad, eh? You'd just be heartbroken.
Yeah.
it always reminds me of Brad off Home Improvement, you know? Like, that's just the quintessential
Yeah.
Brad, and all other Brads are kind of the same.
For me, it's obvious it's MJ. Okay, let's put aside the fact that it's played by Zendaya, who's like incredibly popular herself. But guys in this film are inexplicably drawn to her, even though she's just a complete bitch to everything and everyone.
Yeah.
So people love that. People go crazy for that shit. She'd be on Twitter like, lol, I like places where they kill tons of people, lol.
Yeah.
Lol, Charles Manson's the bomb, yo. You know, you'd be like, what the fuck is this? But inexplicably, everyone loves her. So they'll just be drawn to her. And that takes us to question number 5. What is it there, Mitchu?
So what scene in this film would have worked better as a musical?
I reckon the scene where he's trying to take down the drone on the school bus. I got to see him
That drone, gotta stop that drone.
swinging through the air, and he's...
The hills are alive with baby goats.
Well, it would have made sense. They were kind of driving through some kind of valley
Through
at that
Austria,
point.
yeah. The Sound of Music is. I would have liked a musical scene in when Nick Fury comes to meet him at the hostel and then shoots Ned with the tranquilizer dart. He's like, Nick Fury, I won't do your mission. Another person comes in and gonna fucking kill them.
Yes.
Yeah, I had when Mysterio gets revealed, like, and they're in the pub. I thought they could have just busted out into a musical thing because we needed a bit of backstory about who the fuck are all these people.
Yeah.
But it's
I am Tony Stark's employee and I hate him. And you just go through them, eh? And I used to work in IT and and I used to serve him coffee. And like, who are all these people?
And so did this guy. This is what he does. It's the exposition song. The exposition song. We're going to have an exposition song. What does this person do? Well, hello, and I used to work for Tony Stark.
The thing I thought weird about that entire scene was that they were still... Mysterio and Spider-Man were still in their outfits, without their masks.
Yeah.
So Spider-Man obviously...
No, he
didn't-
was Night Monkey at that point, though.
Well, Night Monkey or whatever. It's still like a superhero-looking suit that people have seen him in. They both had their masks off
Oh,
in
it
this
was-
supposedly public bar.
Yeah, it was absolutely stupid.
Yeah.
He's desperately trying to, stop people from knowing his secret identity. Yeah, he's dressed up as Night Monkey, hanging out in a bar. Of course
Yeah.
they're going to put fucking 2 and 2 together and work out your Spider-Man, you moron.
Yeah. It didn't make any sense.
He's not smart.
Yeah, he's not. He's fucking dumb. They should just cut that off the plot line, the storyline.
Anywho, that moves us over to question number 6. Yeah, question number 6, which is also a Patreon question. And this comes courtesy of the amazing woman that is Emily Higgins, who was the guest on our last episode, Silence of the Lambs. Emily has her own podcast called The Tasteless Podcast. Another awesome podcast you guys should all check out. Links below. Go check it out. Do us a favour. It's amazing. Cool. Share it. What would she like to know there, Kahu?
Yes, Emily would like to know what character has probably gone the longest without showering.
Nick Fury's character. Because at the end we discover he's a Skrull. And I don't think Skrulls know about personal hygiene. Well, do I know? I don't know. They were staying on a fucking space station for something 20 odd years. Probably Nick Fury's character.
Is that a bald being thing?
Yes. Bald people don't shower very much, but we...
I'm going to say MJ. And what is she like? What is going on with her hair? She just doesn't wash it, does she? She's probably not had a shower in ages. Like her hair is a mess. It's a bird's nest. She needs to do something with it.
Maybe she's one of those people who have a bit of a phobia about using bathrooms that aren't in their own house.
True.
Or like, that thing, how people can't do a shit for a long time when they get to a new place?
Yes.
Maybe she's got that with showering.
Interesting.
I think it's got to be Mysterio. He's that classic bad guy being obsessed about every little detail. He doesn't have time for showering.
Good point. That moves us over to question number 7, which is, what's something in this film that you noticed that you don't think other people immediately noticed?
I don't think people miss this, but Ned was wearing a wig. It was so obvious. It was fucking obvious. And I was just distracted by it. I was like, far out. Just if you get bald, just be bald.
Yes.
Embrace it.
Yes.
I get it. He's a school kid. It might have looked a bit odd and put another 10 years on his the way he looks. But man, it was an awful wig.
As someone who went bald at high school, I wholeheartedly support that opinion.
I'm going with this film's resident tryhard again, Flash Thompson.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you noticed at the end, but when they got back to New York in the airport, there was kind of a real weird mini scene where there's kind of a sad family situation going on.
That's true. Yeah.
And then they just move on. And it's like, what's that all about?
I feel like in an extended version of this film, he had more anything.
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, he has nothing to do in this film.
Yeah. I can't remember exactly how that scene goes, but you're kind of like, oh, that's a bit of a downer.
It's like, did Mother come to... No, she didn't. Oh.
Yeah. But anyway, like the film, we'll move on.
There's a ton of Spider-Man trivia that I could throw at all you guys. So I'm going to throw the 2 most important ones. Well, the 2 that I think are really interesting. Number 1, Jake Gyllenhaal in this film is basically wanting to be Peter Parker and take over from him. Jake Gyllenhaal at one point was almost Peter Parker. After Tobey Maguire injured his back in between the filming of Spider-Man 1 and 2, they seriously considered replacing him with Jake Gyllenhaal, to the point that he screen tested and everything. But Tobey Maguire heard about all this and came back and was Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2.
Oh, if only if it was between Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3.
Exactly. The other thing too is that in Peter Parker's passport, we see that his date of birth is August 10th. And August 10th was the day that Amazing Fantasy number 15 came out, and that was the debut of Spider-Man in 1962.
Fun listener fact, that's also my birthday, so read into that what you will.
Go, Spider-Man.
For reals.
Are we up to porn parody yet? Are we?
Right. So, question number 8. What would the porn parody for this film be
Yes,
called?
we are.
I'll probably have the worst answer, so I'll go first. I've gone with Spider-Man Fury Road Trip.
Yeah.
What I thought.
Yeah.
I went with Spider-Her Man getting funky with the Night Monkey.
I went with MJ makes Peter tingle.
I'm totally living in this part right now where I say that is the most PC version of answers that we had from Machu that we can use in this podcast. Anywho, that moves us on to question number 9. What is there, Kahu?
Question 9. What character would fart in a public place and just walk off?
Mysterio. He's definitely, if I was Mysterio, I'd be doing it. I'd have all these drones around me and just farting next to people and
Yeah.
and walking off. Or just sitting there watching, really.
Well, he's not even there. It's just his image walking off.
He does leave a long mist, like green mist behind him, a sort of toxic mist. He was on my shortlist. I went with JB Smooth's character, the teacher. You know, the one that got on the plane and took the Ambien and was just like, no, I'm not taking care of these kids. I don't give a shit. It's witches. I'm going with that guy. I don't think he gives a fuck about anything. He's just like, man, fuck this.
I'm just going with Brad. He's a bit of a dick, to be honest.
Total dick. And finally, we get down to our last question that we all answer, and this is also a Patreon question that comes courtesy of Julio of the Contrarians. Julio and his partner Alex run an amazing show, and they're actually both going to be on the show soon. We're going to do the Muppets. Anyway, Julio would like to know, what is our most controversial opinion about this film?
This is probably more around the Avengers in general, but Phase 3 is not a thing. It's not a thing. Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3. It's just a fucking long list of movies, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sick of it. Like, this is the end of Phase 3, the last movie in Phase. What the fuck is Phase 3? What is that? It's not a thing.
Shout out to the girl that during her thing is like, this is an end of a phase for all of us. It's like, yeah, fucking hit the nail on the head there, girl. A bit on the nose, don't you think?
It's so they're a nice marketable Blu-ray box sets.
Yeah,
if anybody still buys Blu-rays, I don't know.
What's this Blu-ray thing?
So you can buy Phase 1 and then Phase 2, then Phase 2.
This is like season 1 of something and season 2. They're not a season. Like they kind of jump in, they're thrown all over the place. It's just a long list of movies.
Yeah, agree to disagree on that. I feel like it is a fucking sitcom that's been basically drawn out over 23 movies, but yeah.
My controversial opinion is that Jake Gyllenhaal was a poor casting choice.
Holy shit!
I just thought he's just too well known to be in that role. But then I thought, well, they're starting to run out of people in Hollywood who can actually be in Marvel movies that haven't been already, so it kind of makes sense.
They're going to bring Humphrey Bogart back to life and put
Yeah,
him
maybe.
in a film.
Yeah. Or Marlon Brando or something.
Do they think they're going to try and bring back Captain America as Fantastic Four again? Like,
Jesus. We don't talk about that much. You never bring up that fucking film, bro. My one is, a lot of people praised it, but I don't like it. I don't buy the relationship between MJ and Peter Parker whatsoever. That one for me was just totally out of left field. Like, I don't really feel like they've got any chemistry whatsoever. I don't even see why he's going for it, to be honest.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it was just kind of added in there to make it a nice sort of happy ending.
Well, they've got to kind of have it, and then, yeah, you're right. It just feels forced and sort of unusual, and I just don't feel like he'd be the type of guy that she'd go for.
Yeah, she'd go for someone taller, right? Like, I'm 4'5", and I just feel like we wouldn't...
Well, is that the controversial opinion? If he wasn't Spider-Man, would she still be interested in him?
Good point. Anywho, that moves us over to our personal questions, which is 3 questions that we ask of the other 2 people that we don't have to answer ourselves. And first up is Kahu. What do you got there, Kahu?
So, you two, what's the worst plan you've ever had for scoring a girl? Or boy, whichever takes your pick.
What about both?
Girls in New Zealand just don't date. So I reckon asking a girl on a date, asking them to, like, do you like me? That's the easiest way to turn a girl off.
It's true.
You've got to try and trick them with alcohol and taking them to town and applying them with alcohol. Jeepers, I sound like a creep.
Night monkey.
In my young and single days, I had 2 girls that were semi-interested in me, and I thought it'd be quite funny because I was having a hard time deciding, and both of them texted me one night when I was drinking, like, hey, what are you up to? I was like, oh, just going to our local pub that we all go down in. They're like, oh, yeah. And I thought this would be quite funny. Both of them will go down, and then they'll sort of fight over me, and then I'll just pick the winner, basically. Or, if I go for an underdog story.
That never happens.
Throw them some boxing gloves.
Take a guess. Take a guess what happened. They both went home with different dudes.
Yeah.
I went home with nothing. I got nothing. I had no idea why I thought it was going to win. It didn't fucking win. Who's that chick? Oh, she's just a friend. Oh, okay, I'm going to go ask her that in the toilets and see what she says. No, please. Oh, okay, bye, I'm done.
Oh, dear. My next question. What's another European knockoff for the stealth version of an Avenger?
So we're trying to rename one of the Avengers if they were...
Yeah, so Spider-Man becomes Night Monkey in this movie.
Yep.
What's the Euro version of, say, I don't know, Iron Man or Captain America?
We're talking about Iron Man. I'm going to go with Senor Metallo.
Senor.
I went with Black Panther, and I've gone for undercover brother.
I like that.
Good answers there, boys. Question 13. In the great Marvel tradition, we see a few city landscapes get destroyed. So, what world city should a Marvel movie trash next, and why?
Glasgow. The reason why I'm saying Glasgow is I would love nothing better than a bad guy showing up in Glasgow trying to take on a Marvel hero, and a whole bunch of angry Scotsmen go, nah, fuck that, we're not running away in fear, we're going to take you on too, you arsehole.
Oi, 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 oi.
If there's any city that will fight off an invasion, it'll be those guys. Definitely taking them.
I actually had I actually had London, but a specific part of London where all Kiwis go, called the Golden Triangle, otherwise known as Acton, Hammersmith and Shepherd's Bush. Because right now they're tearing down all our favourite pubs, so I'm really keen to just see that whole section of London just be destroyed. We're going to take down our pubs, we're going to take everything.
Some airborne herpes virus would probably take down the village. And that moves me over to my questions. So yeah, as we see in the film, Mysterio turns out to be a bad guy. He's been using these drones to basically create these invasions, and it got me thinking, how long would it have taken for us to discover that Mysterio was full of shit? Like, if some Thanos-level villain or something invaded, and Nick Fury was like, we need you to go take care of this, he'd be found out instantly.
Mm-hmm.
He'd have to use his drones. He wouldn't be able to replicate and come up with this great scenario where he's flying around and doing all the shit. He wouldn't have time. He'd be like, we need you to respond immediately to this. So how long do you guys reckon?
I'm going to get the opposit. I reckon forever. I reckon he'll never get... Yeah, because, everyone still believes we walked on the moon, and that was a clear... So if they can fake
Flat
that...
Earth.
Yeah.
Anti-vaccine.
Everyone reckons we've got this round Earth. What idiots.
Chemtrails.
But if you could
JFK
stage...
didn't get
If that could be staged, anything could be staged, and people just believe it. It's in our history books.
Jet fuels don't burn hot enough to destroy towers, bro. I don't know.
Yeah. There was the fifth tower. Did you remember the other tower that just destructed with no plane hitting it.
This is why we don't normally let them talk for very long on the podcast.
Do the public actually see Mysterio's face in this movie?
I feel like they do.
Yeah, I think they kind of do.
Yeah,
anyway.
he's got a see-through mask. It's not
Yeah,
like
he's sitting in a public bar where people can see it.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's just assume they do. So I just think as soon as somebody checks a Stark Industries employment record,
Yeah.
I'm kind of picking Pepper Potts as quite a smart cookie. She'll work that out, no sweat.
Yeah, definitely Pepper Potts.
But Happy didn't work it out, eh?
His talent is being happy, not smart.
You got to remember, man, he's hooking up with Aunt May. Like,
Yeah,
you think he's got much blood in his brain at that point, bro? Anywho, question number 2. In this film, Peter gets given shit about how his spidey sense is called his Peter Tingle. What about you guys? What would your Peter Tingle be called?
I've gone with my machugasm. Yeah, what was that? It was a machugasm.
How did you take down Mysterio? I machugasmed all up and down the hallway.
I was walking along and the machugasm hit me and I realised it was right next to me. Oh,
Much is superpower. Look out, ladies.
If you fought the Hydro Man and this was bad, you should see.
I'm calling mine the Special K.
I don't know what I was expecting, but those answers are perfect, boys. And finally, in this film, Martin Starr's character of Mr. Harrington, who's their school teacher, and JB Smooth's character, Mr. Dowell, who's their other school teacher, turn out to be pretty fucking useless at taking a class around Europe on a science trip when they don't do any science. In fact, one of them points it out at one point and says, how has this got anything to do with science whatsoever? But I want to know from you guys, which one of these characters do you reckon would have been fired after immediately getting back to New York?
Martin Starr's character, Mr. Harrington. He was the one that organised the tour bus, eh?
Yeah.
Like any teacher with any kind of spidey sense, seeing Dimitri at the doorway to the bus, you just would have gone, nah, this isn't happening.
the
This
Special
guy's
K
gonna,
would have figured it out.
yeah, he's going to kidnap us to some dodgy Eastern European country, have these children as slaves or something, you know? It's just not
You'd
happening.
go to Prague.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Mr. Harrington. I want to go with JB. What's his name?
Mr. Dowell, yeah, JB Smooth. Yeah.
JB Smooth character, but it's Mr. Harrington. He's clearly delusional. He's a bit unhinged, and he's I think if he doesn't get fired when he gets back, he's going to quit.
See, I was thinking Mr. Dowell because, you know, he takes Ambien and ignores the kids, and at one point he tells one of the kids to shut the hell up and no one cares, you know what I mean? Like,
Sounds like a classic teacher, right?
yeah, true. Sounds like every single teacher I had at school, and I had my mum for a teacher, so...
How many kids in the class on this trip? It seemed like there was less than 10.
Oh, one died at every stop, so...
Yeah. You get 2 teachers. It's like the richest school ever.
Exactly.
What is it in New Zealand? 1 to 40, and they've got
40 ratio. Yeah.
they've got 2 to 5 or 6.
Assholes. Anywho, that moves us over to Machu for his set of 3 questions.
Right, so during the film, Spider-Man wants to go on his Euro trip instead of trying to help Nick Fury save the world. So what event, activity, trip is more important to you than saving the world?
My KFC run when I'm hungover. Fun facts, we've got a local KFC that I popped up at 3 times in a row on Sundays over the space of a month. And the lady working behind the counter was like, oh, hey, you've been here 3 Sundays in a row at 10 a.m. How's it going? I was like, all right, like, what's your name? We should get to know each other. Nope, not having this. Drove off. Just drove the fuck out of there about my order. Now go to a different KFC in a different part of town.
I'm going with an easy, timely one, and that's the Cricket World Cup final.
Oh.
So unless Lords is in the process of being destroyed, I'm not helping out until the final's complete.
Just imagining your wife, mate. Kahoo, fuck off.
yeah. I'll do it later.
All
Your
right.
kids are on fire. Yeah, stop, drop, and roll, kids.
Get the fire extinguisher.
So during the film, Spider-Man gets caught half naked in a pub with a really hot blonde chick. And so if you got caught half naked with a tall blonde in a pub, what would your excuse be, given that you boys are both married?
Just to clarify, is it half naked, waist up or waist down?
I think it's just everything but the undies, I think.
It's half and half. You've got like a sleeve and a leg on.
Okay. Let's say
You're wearing a hat. That's it.
you can leave your hat on.
A hat and a pair of shoes.
My excuse is that she's actually a doctor checking if I have, depending on which half is naked, if I've got male breast or testicular cancer.
Yeah. They use their mouth, the testicular chances checks these days.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I've got a better healthcare system than we do,
Yeah, I
if that's
mean,
the case.
it's just doctors doing house visits again, in the pub.
Yeah, I none. I regret nothing.
You're just going to say, Stacey, that's me. Look what I've done. You're trying to high five Stacey.
I'd just be like, I'm Spider-Man. You're like, you're not fucking Spider-Man.
Yeah. Spider-Man!
I'm Spider-Man.
That's your excuse.
Yeah.
That's my excuse.
Spider-Man.
I'm Spider-Man.
Hit me high, both of you.
And my last question is, Aunt May, would you?
Yes, next.
Ooh, I'm going maybe, but she crazy.
Maybe.
Hey. Maybe. Yeah, she crazy. I feel like there's some definite craziness going on down the road on the whole hotness crazy scale thing.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, but maybe, stick with it while it lasts.
What I couldn't believe is she's 53 or 54.
54, bro. Yeah,
54. Whoa.
Which is quite kind of,
She's not an older lady. She's an old lady.
it's quite common age range for the Marvel Universe, though, as we've found
Older the
out.
berry, the sweeter the juice, bro.
Yeah.
Good line out of Friday. Yeah, no, she's gorgeous. Marisa Tomei's an amazing woman. What do we ask? What was the question?
Would you go there?
Already am right now, mentally.
Mentally.
I'm not standing up from my seat. No, yeah, she's hot. Yeah, man, if I was Happy Hogan, I'd be all over that. And that moves us down to our final question, which is a listener question. Now, this is a question that we threw out there to all you guys to answer for us. Fairly generic, but let's try and settle a long-standing debate. What is the best comic book movie sequel? Well, what's your guys' favourite? We'll leave it there. What's your favourite?
Might be a bit of controversy over this option, but it's technically a remake, and I'm going with Dredd.
Yeah, that's a remake. That's not really a sequel.
Remake sequel. It's it's kind of all the same. Yeah, obviously, if you've seen the original Judge Dredd,
That's a classic.
that whole Demolition Man era Sylvester Stallone, and it's just
I am the law.
the best. Whereas,
I am the law.
yeah, whereas the new Dredd, the plot and the setting's all pretty tight. So
I've gone with Dark Knight. That's my favourite.
That's the easy one, bro.
Because it's the best one.
better than Batman and Robin.
Yeah, better be just by an inch, by a little some of those inches.
By an
you mentioned
inverted
at the
cow.
time. by Kahu's extra inches.
Yeah, the extra inches you don't have.
Yeah, I mean, Dark Knight's the easy answer, isn't it? It's the safe option, but honestly, a lot of love as well for Winter Soldier and Ragnarok, but nah, fuck all that. I'm going to go with Logan. That's going to be my favourite one. Yeah. And so, as I mentioned, we threw it over there to you guys to answer this for us, to see what you guys thought. Now, we've had a lot of response to this, and I'm going to try and get through as many as I can. Whew, prepare yourselves. Starting off with films on trial, they said Spider-Man 2 is one of the best comic book movies of all time. The Contrarians, the best comic book movie sequel, also happens to be the best comic book movie. They also said Spider-Man 2. Ryan Altieri said Batman Returns. The Countdown Pod said The Dark Knight or Logan, Don't Make Me Choose. Emily Higgins, the wonderful woman that she is, said Iron Man 3. Pepper Potts wearing the suit, Pepper Potts with powers, Pepper Potts existing. I think someone might have a slight crush on Pepper Potts there. Over to Shaken Not Nerd. Oh, damn, that's a hard one. Probably Winter Soldier, Ragnarok, Batman vs. Superman. What? And then they mentioned extended only. Yes, he liked it. Gillian Ashton said Captain said Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Don't even think about changing my mind. It's a spy drama. It's got a good story. It didn't waste Natasha as a character. Has great action sequences. Sebastian Stan. Splooge. I could go on, but Sam would just roast me. I added the splooge there. Netflix and Swill also went with Spider-Man 2. IMDb Journey podcast said, what a ridiculous decision. It's obviously The Dark Knight. The Cinema Guys said Superman 2. Tara Mahalik, the wonderful woman she is, said Ragnarok, too easy. A Face Mainly Your Mother Could Love said Azumi 2, Age of Ultron, Dark Knight, Spider-Man 2, Batman vs Superman, Dawn of Justice, Dredd. Oh, there you go. Okay.
Dredd's in there.
Dredd's in
also,
there.
Age of Ultron's in there, so I'm not sure.
Death Note 2, Batman Returns. How have you not seen Spider-Man 2, although he knows it's wrong? No, a lot of people are saying that, man. So Darfin said Batman Returns, possibly the only movie, comic book or otherwise, wherein Christopher Walken says, unlimited poontang. That's a good point. So was a podcast said Captain America Winter Soldier. Cinema Recall said Batman Returns or Spider-Man 2. Skullsy95 said the one that's overlooked is Sin City, A Dame to Kill For. Superiority Complex said a strong case could be made for Winter Soldier. Mackenzie Lambert said Captain America Winter Soldier. There's a lot more Captain America Winter Soldiers than I was expecting. Not a lot of Dark Knight there, Machu, so maybe you can take your easy option and shove it up your ass.
I'm going to go for another option then. What was it? Dread. Has that been said?
What should we watch? Said Batman and Robin. It's just too good. Ice puns alone.
Robin.
Good on you, bro.
Batman and Robin's getting as many hits as Dark Knight now.
Yeah. Bros Talk Movies said Captain America Winter Soldier. Cinemantics said, does Logan count? Fuck yes, it counts. If so, that one. If not, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze. Kanakanomicon said, favourite comic book movie sequel? Deadpool 2 for sure. Never seen a better romantic comedy than Deadpool 2. Short and sweet film reviews, The Dark Knight. Here comes another one too from VHS Eulogies, also saying The Dark Knight. And Cinema Flavour said The Dark Knight. Bitches and Murders, Winter Soldier, obviously. Pop Goes the Culture, had Logan. The Cousin Show, Dark Knight by a mile. Runner-up, Spider-Man 2, X-Men 2, Days of Future Past. Oh, fuck, I forgot about Days of Future Past. That's so good. Yeah, that was a good pick. TVS Travis said Blade 2. And Not Teddy said, obviously Dark Knight is the correct answer. Or Winter Soldier. What do you guys reckon? Who do you reckon won this one?
Lots of love for Winter Soldier and Dark Knight.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man 2, though. Are probably the three.
They probably were the
Spider-Man
three.
2 was a surprise for me that a lot of people picked that one.
I'm going with What Should We Watch podcast. I reckon they won this week with their pick of Batman and Robin.
Yes.
You are the winner this week. As the proud winner of our question of the week, you get some virtual love from New Zealand. It's Middle-earthy and it smells like sheep. And that takes us down to the end of the podcast. You guys got anything else you want to contribute or add or anything to this?
Yeah, what's the next Marvel movie coming up? I feel like we just need to have a bit of time to digest the end of the Avengers and
There's
wait.
none. There's none announced
Really?
or named or like dated or anything. They've like kept it a little bit hidden. Probably going to reveal it at Comic-Con or D23, which is, the Disney celebration. Yeah.
Good, because this movie reviews is starting to sound like the Avenger reviews and 20 Qs.
Yeah.
We've done how many comic books out of the 80 and 90 odd episodes have we done? We've done all of them, haven't we?
We're almost up to episode 100, and we've probably only done about 7.
Really? No way.
I don't. Have you
It's
done
gotta be
any other
more.
Iron Man movies?
Oh, sorry, I mean 37. Yeah.
It's either Avengers movies or like chick flicks. That's all.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That's our go-to.
Well, yeah, you're right. I don't even have a response to that. Yeah, you're right. Coming up on next week's episode is us three doing Mean Girls. So. Jesus, I wish I wasn't joking. But no, next week the three of us are going to be reviewing Mean Girls. We threw it out there to a vote late last year after our Notebook episode was so incredibly popular. We threw it out there and said, which one of these three films should we do? And I think it was like The Notebook, I can't even remember, like Bridget Jones's Diary, a couple of other like really chick flicky ones. And this one won by Mean Girls got like 50% or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Wow.
so brace yourself, people. That's coming up next week. The week after that, I have, as I mentioned, the Contrarians are coming on the podcast, and us three are going to do Muppet movie, and then we're up to episode 99, which I don't really know what I'm going to do because I'm kind of having a baby at the moment. Like right now, I'm kind of pushing out a baby.
Sam's been complaining about how hard it is to have a baby, and I don't think he's doing any of the work. To be fair,
I'm doing all the work, right? Stacey's got it easy, man.
Yeah. He's got to keep his energy levels up with copious buckets of KFC.
I just love that Stacey's never going to listen to this episode, so I can say, oh, shit. My back is breaking. It's so hard, like you wake up and, hey, babe, can you give me, come on, man. Like, let me have some sleep, man. Like, anywho, that is enough from us. Thanks from me.
Chip.
Catch you up.